Hello and welcome back to the Math Explained series. This video's topic is what the fraction, also known as WTF. See, you were using it wrong the whole time. It really stands for what the fraction. Okay, so we've been learning about fractions for a long time. I'm sure you learned this in elementary school, but sometimes it helps to get a little bit of a refresher, and plus this is not really a well-loved subject. So okay, a fraction as defined by like Google or the dictionary is just a portion of something. It's part of a whole. Part of a whole. So you're just using a part of it. You're not using the whole thing, and that's why we get a fraction. So okay, so the most common example that we usually all learn in school is pizza, right? Because it lends itself easily to this. So usually if you order a large, they'll cut it into 8 pieces. It depends on the place, depends on the size of the pizza, but just normally. So let's say I eat 3 of those pieces. Okay, so I ate 3 pieces. So what this looks like is you have the number of pieces that you ate over the total number of pieces, right? Total. So in this case, there are 8 total pieces in the pizza. I ate 3 of them. So I ate 3 over 8, or 3/8 of a pizza. Okay. Let's say you get a pizza, but it's kind of a weird pizza, and they cut it into 3 pieces instead. So here's my second pizza. Same size as the first, because I just copied and pasted it. But instead of cutting it into 8 pieces, they cut 3. Well, never really seen a pizza place do this, but let's just pretend. Okay, well, this is all fine and good. And so I go, okay, well, I am a little bit hungry. I'm going to eat a third of it. Well, I ate 1 piece. There were 3 pieces total, so I ate 1/3 of the pizza. Okay. That's okay, I'm good with that. Okay, so let me copy this over. But now, let's say, so here's my original pizza. Let's say I have another pizza. So let's say in this pizza, let's say the top one is like pepperoni, and let's say the bottom one is like cheese. Okay, so in the top one, I ate 3. So this is 3 over 8. And the bottom one, I ate 2. So this is 2 over 8. So if somebody comes along and says, well, how many pieces of pizza did you have? Well, I ate 3 of the top one. I ate 2 more from the bottom one, like say these were green. Da-da-da. Then all together, I ate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces out of 8 total. So 3 over 8 plus 2 over 8. Out of 8 pieces altogether, I ate 5 of them, right? So notice at the bottom, the denominator stayed the same, but I added these 2 up in the top, the numerators. Okay, fair enough. That's not terrible. But what if they're not the same size? Then we have a problem. Okay. So before we jump into pizzas of different sizes, let me look at a ruler, because this is kind of an easy way to see this. So okay, so we have this ruler, yardstick, whatever, measuring tape. So here we have this piece of a ruler. Okay, so let's say from here to here is 1 inch. Well, if I cut it in 2, I have 2 pieces, right? So I have 1/2 inch. So 1 over 2. I don't like where that is. Let me erase a little bit more. I'm going to put it right in between. Okay, so that's half. So let's say this is 20 inches. Let's say this is 21. So here we are in between. Well, if I cut that part, if I cut it in half again, so like right here and right here, this is 1/4 inch, because there are 4 of these pieces in 1 inch. If I cut that in half again, so here, 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 and here, this is 1/8 inch, because there are 8 pieces in here. I could cut that in half again, and if I do that, there are 16 little segments in there, so that's 1 over 16. So each of these green marks is 1/16 of an inch. Okay, that's all fine and good. But let's say that I'm building little small models of something, and I need to see if two pieces will fit together in the space that I have for them. So let's say I have something that's 3/8 of an inch, and I need the next piece beside it is going to be 5/16, and I need to add them together to see how much space those two pieces take up. Well, okay. Well, since we're working on this little ruler, this isn't terribly hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here. I'm going to start with the bigger one just because it makes it easier to see. But so let's say I'm going to shade 3/8. So this is 1, 2, 3. So it'll go to here. So, okay, this is 3/8. I want to know how long all of it together is. So that's my 3/8. And then I have 5/16. Well, the 16th, those are those little green ones. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it goes right into here. And then if I add those up, oh, I don't even have to add them up. I just see where it stops, right? It stops right here, which if I count them, that's 11/16. Sorry, that got written a little bit small. So that's 11/16 because I can just count up the lines, right? Even though these are two different denominators, so I have a 3/8 and I have a 5/16, because it's on this ruler and because those little marks are already on there, I just count them up and it's no big deal. But if I don't have a ruler, and I don't want to draw it on a ruler, let's say I have 3/8 plus 5/16. Well, if I want to add them, they have to have the same denominator. And like just looking at this, I know that I want it to be 16th, and I know that 8 goes into 16. So what I'm going to do then is I want it to be 16. I could go, okay, well, what do I have to multiply 8 by to get 16? Well, 8 times 2 is 16, so I just multiply it by 2. But I can't multiply it just in the bottom, right? Because if I do that, I change this fraction. And normally if we do something, we would have to do something on both sides of the equals. And this would have to be multiplied by it too. So instead what I do is a little tricky math trick. Tricky math trick. Anyway, instead of just multiplying the bottom by 2, I'm going to multiply the top by 2 as well. Because 2 divided by 2 is just 1, right? 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we're not actually changing this number. This number is still 3/8 because we're multiplying it by 1. But what we're doing is we're just making it look a little bit different. So I multiply the tops, so that's 6/16. I'm going to add it to my 5/16. And 6 plus 5 is 11, so I get 11/16. So it's the same answer that I got up top, only I did it with math instead. So then if I go back to my pizza example, so in the first example, I ate 3/8 of a pizza up at the top. So copy, paste. There we go. So down here there were 3 pieces. Up top there were 8. So I have 3 up here because I had 3/8. I had 1 piece of pizza down here, so 1/3. Well, if I want to add these up, what I have to do is I have to find something, that they have in common. I want their denominator to be the same. So what I could do is I could go, okay, well, 3 times 8 is 24, so I could actually divide this into 8 pieces. Those go all the way down. So now I've eaten 8 pieces there, but there are 24 altogether. So this is 8/24, which makes sense, right? 24 divided by 8 is 3. And I'm going to divide this by 3 each piece. So in this case, I had 3 pieces here, 3 pieces here, 3 pieces there. So basically, I took my pizza and I made little slivers out of it. So this was really 9/24 because there are 24 little slices all together. I ate 9 of them. So now since they both have 24 on the bottom, I can add those. So if somebody says, well, how much pizza did you actually eat? I could go, okay, well, I had 9/24 up here. I had 8/24 down here. So I ended up eating 17/24 of the pizza. Hooray! So now that's our fractions. So we talked about fractions in pizza. We talked about fractions in measuring tape or a ruler. and we talked a little bit about adding them.